It's interesting where people do their weekly shop. 85058, hashtag wake up to money. A very good morning to you. It's nearly 25 to 6. It's Wake Up to Money with Louise Cooper and me, Sean Farrington. We're going to discuss the world of entrepreneurship now. What is it like out there at the moment? There's a report out recently that's shown a slight drop-off in the proportion of us starting new businesses and going into that tough old world. But there's been a particularly big drop in the proportion of new entrepreneurs from Black, Asian and minority communities over 2018. This is all according to a report from Aston University and NatWest, who look at this thing every year. They say that proportion is now at its lowest level since 2011. A percentage still higher than among white people, so about 8%. It's running out now compared to 7% amongst white people. But historically, that would normally be a lot higher. So what's going on? Well, we've got three entrepreneurs who've spared a little bit of time for us this morning, aside from running their businesses, to join us on the programme. We've got John Otagburuagu, founder of Black Cowboy Coffee and Waffles in London. He's resplendent, I notice, in cowboy hats in the studio with Louise. Morning to you, John.
How are you?
I knew straight away which guest John was. He
Good.
came in with a cowboy hat.
But
Only one on the programme.
But did he bring any coffee? That's when I saw him with a cowboy hat.
The coffee I brought is actually in me. I'm sorry.
As long as you're all right, John, this early in the morning. We've got Dami Hastrup as well, the founder and director of the virtual reality training company Moonhub. Morning to you, Dami.
Morning, how are you?
Very well.
Do you mind if I make a correction to your... it's not actually Black Cowboy Coffee, not Black Cowboy Coffee and Waffles.
Oh, not and waffles?
Yeah, I've had a rebrand of late and in anticipation of several things happening in the future, so it's not called Black Cowboy Coffee.
But you still offer waffles?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's what we need to know. Loving a waffle.
Hold the front page, yes. We will scrap that out. There you go. The world now knows. Is that an exclusive for Wake Up to Money? No longer. And waffles. And we've got Kareen Griffiths with us in our Birmingham studio this morning, the co-founder and director at the recruiter Evenfields, which has only just set up in the last few weeks. Morning, Kareen.
Good morning.
So the last few weeks, we're talking about the world of entrepreneurship and going into it. How are you feeling right now with such a brand new business?
Oh my gosh, we are nervous. We're really nervous, but I have to say the support we've been getting has been great. Everyone's been really supportive. So yeah, it is nerve-wracking, but at the same time, it's fun at the same time.
Good, and that's good to hear. We rarely have an entrepreneur on the programme who doesn't have that enthusiasm and wakes us up at 25 to 6 in the morning. So thank you to all of you for joining us. I just wondered, Kareen, when you sort of see this report as somebody who's just starting a new business and seeing that there's been a big drop-off in, particularly in that proportion of new entrepreneurs from Black, Asian, minority communities. Does any of that ring true to you in the environment that you're trying to start a business in at the minute?
Yeah, I definitely think that to try and start a new business is no mean feat, and to take the courage to kind of do that is really a challenge. So I think for someone who's starting out, or for ourselves when we've been starting out, you sometimes don't have many other businesses that you can sort of look to and think, okay, that's the journey you want to go on, or you see other businesses being successful in terms of representation. So yeah, it is a challenge to kind of think about having the courage or the confidence to take a step to doing something sort of new, and having the support, whether that be from a funding perspective or advice about how to get your business off the ground.
Dami, how long has your VR training business been going?
So we were founded, I founded the company back in 2016 in August. So we're actually almost coming up to our 3-year anniversary, which is really cool. And we've seen some really good progress in the last 3 years. It has been quite the journey, though, I have to say.
And so what is it about your journey that makes you say it's been quite the journey?
It's just been really interesting. I have to say I'm very sort of fortunate for the mentorship and guidance I'd have, because I can see peers sort of my age and also demographic who may be struggling or may be finding it harder to break into the marketplace than we've found it. And I think being based at Plexel, which is the innovation centre in East London, has really helped. They're a really, how do I say this, very supportive network of people who know sort of how a startup operates and the kind of challenges they can face as well. So I think it's been a very interesting journey, both the ups and the downs.
So do you think when you've had a great experience yourself, but when you look wider, is it harder to be a black entrepreneur, a young black entrepreneur these days than it might be otherwise.
Potentially, when you go back to that network, looking at who you have access to in terms of mentorship, as well as even access to networks of information and funding and what have you, I feel like black entrepreneurs may find it. There may be struggles there trying to find these networks as well. But as I said, for our experience and my company's experience as well, thankfully we've been quite fortunate in that respect. But there's definitely a sort of wider discussion to be had in terms of support networks for founders and directors of ethnic minorities.
So have you been in situations yourself where you've felt that? We often when we talk to women about trying to start businesses, and this report says still much less likely to be, if you're a woman, that you'd start your own business than you would if you're a man. Do you feel that when you're going into meetings and making pitches, is the environment any different for you?
You know what? That's very interesting because you would potentially think so, but I'd say my age actually more than anything has been quite an interesting factor, especially when you're in a boardroom full of a lot of older people. Me being black could have an impact or could have an effect there, but I think in the startup space, especially in the tech field, us training companies using VR, it's a new field, and with tech, if it works, it works. And I think that because of that, you're finding more and more that well, for me anyway, race impacts less than you would, especially sort of initially think so.
John, with your coffee company, you're the founder of Black Cowboy Coffee in London. You've just seeing your profile, you've travelled the world, you've lived in places all around the world, and now you're starting a business in the UK. What does it feel like for you trying to grow a business in the UK? How's it been?
Well, I have to say, I've never actually considered the perspective of being a black person starting a business. I've always considered myself to be not part of the collective. I see myself as the actual center, the star, so to speak, of the show. So I didn't start the business based on the fact that I'm black, or my problems, the obstacles I'm going to face will come out of my being black, starting a business. It is an enterprise. It's a coffee enterprise that I started, albeit a universal enterprise. It's not an ethnic enterprise. So I didn't envisage any problems based on the color of my skin, so to speak, or the BAMI acronym. That's never been something that occurred in my head before I started the business.
Can I completely agree with that as well? By the way, I've never looked and said this is a black company or whatever. It's a company, and I happen to be a founder who is black or a director who is black.
And that's great. And Kareem, when you look at the recruitment business you've got, you're particularly focused on placing diverse candidates. So is there a demand from the world of business now that you're seeing that wasn't there before?
Yeah, I think from our perspective, what we've seen is that there's diversity targets are being set. Really, it's being set by the government in terms of targeting, gender and ethnicity. So, and companies are struggling to attract diverse candidates into their business, especially young people. So we've talked to young people around this, and a lot of businesses are struggling to attract a diverse range of people. And this is all backgrounds, so not just sort of BAME, but all backgrounds. It's about opportunities for everyone. So, our aim really is to work with those businesses and go on the journey with them to help them, connect those young people aspirationally to those businesses.
Was it your experiences that caused you to set up this recruitment firm that specifically focuses on diversity in candidates, working with 18 to 24-year-olds? Is it almost like a social enterprise that you see lack of opportunity, possibly discrimination, whatever it is? Is it some sort of desire in you to make the world a better place? Because that's what I find quite interesting about your choice of what business to set up.
Yeah, I think I can say that my journey has been a good one. So I didn't think about this thing when I was growing up in business. I was successful in my business and successful in companies. But what I think I've found when I've been talking to young people, that actually this is a challenge for them. So I think that even though it wasn't my journey, it is a journey for some people out there. And so we have interns at the moment, and that's what we're hearing. That's what they're telling us. So it's not sort of something that we've just thought about and have a go at. It's actually the voices of those young people, and being able to help them and help businesses, who want to bring in, young people and raise their aspirations is really, quite exciting to do.
And Demi, you said when you went into businesses, they were sort of shocked at how young you were.
Yeah.
I have to say, you do look astonishingly young. This is radio, so you can't see, but he has, fantastic genetics to keep you looking that young.
And if you just look young, you stick out this time of the morning anyway.
Because we all look so haggard.
Yeah, whatever age you are.
And there's a great story. There's an astonishing woman called Steve Shirley who set up her own IT business. I don't know if you've heard of her. A programming business in the sort of 60s. My mum worked for her, actually.
Wow.
And she, I don't know, many men in technology now don't realise that women dominated IT in the early days. And she called herself Steve in order that her clients would think she was a man.
Wow.
And she also rocked up to meetings with her husband, and generally he was the one the client spoke to.
Wow.
How does it work with you when you walk up to meetings?
Yeah, with meetings, it's definitely been a case of thinking, okay, how I looked, is that going to affect our success?
You're also not suited and booted.
Yeah, that's another thing as well. In sort of our office, we have a very diverse group of people who are all around sort of a similar age to me. And one thing that's not us in a tech company is we're not suited and booted type of people. We're there to create this wonderful training platform to train companies in VR. And when we go to these meetings, we want to reflect that as well. And
so it's a deliberate choice not to suit and boot.
Yeah, it is actually. If somebody wants to in our team, they can. I'm not going to stop them, but no one wants to. So I'm not going to make them. And it's all about reflecting sort of who we are as well. So when we go to meetings, we'll not, dress in super casual. We'll wear, sort of semi-casual or, smart casual. But, it's more of a case of showcasing that, look, we are a young, vibrant tech company. And we're very dynamic, and we're also very sort of fast-paced, hitting the ground running, so to speak. And I feel like the suited and booted look would just make it look like we're trying hard to be something we're not. And with the age thing, going into these boardrooms with people who are older, sometimes you might think they'll look around and say, okay, is the supervisor about to come in?
Where's the adult in the room?
Yeah, looking for the adult in the room, and it's like, no, that's us. But once they get the rapid fire questions going, and we're able to answer them, like water off a duck's back, they realize, okay, they may be a young team, but they know what they're doing. You
also can't see, Sean, that he has a very trendy sort of hoodie on.
Yeah, and the second you start using the word trendy as well, I think...
I'm clearly old.
Not sure what Damien make of that. I just wondered, talking of suited and booted, John, I'm assuming, have you got a pair of boots, cowboy boots on?
Yes, I do. Can I just say,
they're under the desk, I can't see them.
Considering I'm 85 years old, I think I look like...
You've got amazing genetics then, because you don't look it.
It's clearly the coffee. John, I just wanted to
and waffles.
We wrap this up. You've gone with the name, the brand, the Black Cowboy Coffee. Why did you decide to go with that?
Okay, first of all, I think maybe I should give you a little background story of the actual cowboy experience. I lived in Texas for 14 years. We lived right very close to a ranch called George Ranch in Texas, and there was the history of the African Americans still there as cowboys. I researched it, and I was actually living that lifestyle in the States as a trucker. So I had my hat on since 2002. I've been wearing my hat. So I've actually lived sort of a semblance of life of the cowboys. So when I came back, I wanted to create an entity that would reflect who I am, my own personality from A to Z, a comfortable place for me to actually work and exist. And that's how the business came about. That's how I decided to call it. It's also a vanity. You could call it a vanity project. It's mainly about me, my need to wear a cowboy hat in London. It was an instantaneous decision.
It's an excuse.
Yeah, I thought, how can I wear a cowboy hat and not look like a beep in London?
Well, you've got away with it somehow.
Exactly. So then I had to create a coffee enterprise way above what is present in UK. I needed to find the best products so that people wouldn't have an excuse. They wouldn't see it as a gimmick. They'll see it as a gimmick to start with, but once they tried my products, they'll realize that it's a viable, it's a very potent business idea. So it's a combination of my feelings for myself and also the need to create something really tangible for the society.
And remember, Sean, cowboys used to drink coffee.
Absolutely.
There we go. The story's there. Well, thank you to all of you who've joined us this morning. Thanks to John Otagburuagu there, who's the founder of Black Cowboy Coffee in London. You can get waffles, but it's not above the door anymore. Dami Hastrup, who's the founder and director of the virtual reality training company Moon Hub. Karine Griffiths as well, who's the co-founder and director at The Recruiter. Evenfields just started up in the last few weeks. I'm sure we'll speak to you all again. I have to get you back on to talk all those other things we talk about occasionally, like Brexit and everything as well. Some fascinating stuff going on there. In the world of entrepreneurship. So let us know if you started a business in the last couple of weeks like Karine and still sounding excitable. Let us know what you're up to. We've got 10 minutes left of the programme. I've had loads of messages about Tesco.
Supermarkets.
Yeah, unsurprisingly. But it is Ian and Camberley. Tesco have a Metro store less than half a mile from their extra store on the A30 at the Meadows.
I know it well.
Do you?
Yes, where my mum lives.
And given the choice, which one do you end up going to? I guess